Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chai Chat and Community again. Since it's being my fourth show, I hope you guys remember me again. So, this is Anjali Dua, and together with Ishani Nigam, who will be our beautiful speaker for today, and Saleha definitely for the back end. Let's kick off the show. We'll be talking about Ishani's entrepreneur journey and her first ever step ever podcast that helped young leaders and students take their first step towards their goal. So, welcome to the show, Ishani, and I'm really grateful for joining us with it.
Thank you, Anjali. It's amazing to be here, and I am excited as well.
So, let us just start with your journey itself. Like, how did you happen to have Melbourne? And are you, since you're from India, did you always wanted to come to Australia?
Thank you for the question, a very relevant one, I suppose. So it all started when I did my undergrad from India, from a very reputed in design college in India. It's called National Institute of Fashion Technology, and I did communication design course. So I was working with the advertising firm called Wonderman Thompson. Then I worked for some time. I worked for Future Group, which is a retail house, and then I worked into production. So in all these roles, for about 2.5 years, and also a handloom boutique brand called Rare Minimal. In all these roles, where I was being I was always in a very creative space. But after doing that work for a long period of time, I wanted to also understand how things work within campaign creation. I wanted to be a creative and a strategist both. So it was a long journey to understand that you can have both in one place, because usually you have every profession demarcated,
Hmm.
and it's not a usual path if you want to have a mix of two. So
Hmm.
I think figuring out took a lot of time, and I have always been very, very fascinated with audiovisual production, with ad filmmaking, and the brilliant concept some amazing advertising firms have, that they translate into the celluloid and even the small platforms, which is TV. So I thought of doing this course called Marketing Communications, the Masters in Marketing Communication, because it had the both the foundation that I was looking for, which is marketing, the business side of things, and then communication, which is also to do with a bit of creative side. And it had the top two subjects that I was actually looking out for. One was advertising, another was audiovisual production. So I think that just came at the right time, or maybe I was really looking out for it. And I did search few other places as well. I was looking at Ireland as well, and US also, but Ireland did not have a course so specific that I was looking out for. I think Melbourne Uni had it very nicely sketched it out. So that was the whole story why I came to Melbourne Uni and why Australia. So I think it was specifically the course that brought me here than any other thing.
Right, right. Amazing. So I feel most of the viewers would not know that I'm currently studying in the University of Melbourne and Ishani has graduated. And I am not wrong if you must have graduated in 2019, right?
I graduated in December 2020.
2020, sorry about that.
Yeah.
So
No,
you started your podcast while you were still into the University of Melbourne, or was it after your graduation?
yes, so I started this while I was in my I was about to start my last semester. So it was between the end of the third semester and the start of the fourth semester. I was still studying, and that's when I started the podcast.
And that was also the time when COVID really kicked off, like to the moment where everything was shut and we were spring over the lockdown stage four.
That's exactly when it started. Exactly, yeah.
So were you shattered? Like how did the inspiration stem through? Like did you always know that in your last semester you would want to have your own foundation, or COVID became as a panacea of you wanting to do something and opportunities outside or environment would not let you do it?
I think it was definitely a bit of COVID, because of COVID everything went online, and I somehow came in contact with the right people, and I really believe in this. When I experienced it is, when you are with the right people, you connect with the right people, things start moving for you as well, because you have the same mindset that the people that you're interacting with, and they help you move forward in your journey, and you also would love to help any other person move forward in their journey, because everyone is there in a community to help each other grow. So I came across a community like this, which is called Campus Consultancy, and it is run by Josh Parr. It so happened that the 1 month that we get between semesters holidays, I took up this challenge that they had, which was a leadership challenge, I think. Yeah, and at the very beginning, I wasn't very sure of doing it, because the first thing that comes in anyone's mind is, oh, what if I lose? What if I don't do it? What if I'm not
Right.
good enough? I
Right.
think,
There's always a resistance, right?
yeah. So these were the things that came in my mind, and then I was like, okay, this is so stupid to think this way, because see, this is I think there's a productivity challenge and leadership challenge, I suppose. So I was like, even if I do not win, which should actually should not be my criteria, and the thing is, I will grow every day. At the end of the day, I am a winner, because of this particular challenge, I'm going to learn something that will help me personally develop. So that what changed my mindset, and I was like, I will take part in this challenge. And every week we had to do few things and apply those knowledge that we got, and with the tools that we were taught, and just execute, starting small and actually applying, taking actions. And I think that's where my mindset kind of started, you know uh, going in the direction of taking actions. So that is where the foundation was laid. I think I always had that somewhere in myself, that kind of thinking, but maybe I was either not in the right space, or I was not enough for myself to motivate myself in that period of time. So I think it really helped. That environment helped me to just do whatever I would like, and I don't want to think about what others will think, what others will say. Actually, that was not even in my head. I just wanted to grow, learn, and just have fun for that time being. So that's how it all started.
Beautiful. So, oh yeah. So, you know how our families are the best supporters. So, I have got my grandmom. Hi, Nani. Thanks for also joining us. I'm so sure after this she would be coming back and asking us more questions. But, on that note, I would want to really ask one thing. So, campus consultancy has not been new, especially for international students, since Josh Farr extensively is in LinkedIn, social media, tries to help international students in some way. And being from a land not here, we tend to follow him. But it's only few who had the courage to join his program, and a very tad of them to get till the end. So definitely, I feel it's a lot to do with your persistence, constant motivation that led you to stick till the end. So, Ishani, did you think that you always had this inner talent of constantly pushing yourself that made you take the challenge, take this program, and happen to carry what you carry now?
I think with me, it's like if I take up a job, I want to do my best, and I want to just push my limits, even if it's been studies throughout my life, or I have gone for an adventure sport. I've done anything. I want to do my best. So I have always had that mindset of doing my best, and so I think that comes from that mindset as well. I cannot sit idle if I have thought of something in my head, if I have a goal, and if I do not complete it, if I do not even take an action a day, if I've scheduled something for myself for this week, and if I don't do it that day, I'm not able to sleep, and it has always been there. So I think that kind of mindset helps. And besides what I do with podcast, the kind of you know I think skills it requires. I have always loved being on stage. I also am a dancer. I perform. I love to interact with people. But I think with the podcast, with my talent, which I feel I also found a purpose, and I think it's working well at this point.
Oh, that's really sweet, Ishani. So before I could jump back to the next question, oh, we have Sarthak Sakuja over here. Hi, Sarthak, and he is my cousin, and he's just like 10, 12 years old, and I'm so happy he's here to listen to you because that's the stage where you tend to develop your mindset, and these kind of conversation would really help him. So that's really, really grateful of you, Sarthak, taking time out of your cartoon or video games or whatever you're doing now and getting to us. So, Shani, why only podcast? So, what made you take your first chance of introducing your podcast, and maybe just also talk about how did the process go? Were you always sure how you need to go through it, and all the whether legalities or any procedure if that carries, or did you happen to take a mentor by your side to help you all along?
I actually did not know about podcasts before I started off with that concept. I wasn't aware of. It so happened that in my third semester, we had this subject called digital content creation, and that's where we were introduced with this um, area and maybe field podcasting. And I like making videos. I have made videos in back back in my university undergrad time, and I like editing. I like bringing stories to life through audiovisual medium, as I said in the beginning. And so podcast happened through my uni project. We did a 5 minute gig over there, and I liked it. So I think when the challenge of productivity challenge came, towards the end I launched my website, and I launched the podcast as well. So the thing that I had sort of been learning and doing, I just launched it as a platform, not thinking of where it will go, because I like interacting with people. As I said, I found a purpose, and there was a medium which I am comfortable with. Even the editing part of it, that is something that took a bit of time to, not at the beginning, but once you start something, you also have to better yourself. You have to, keep pushing your boundaries and limits and make things better as when you go ahead in your journey. So yeah, that was the thing. I never thought about this. And regarding your other question, that how did I execute it? So we got to know about the different platforms that you have, like SoundCloud, you have Wooshka, there is Anchor, there are other platform, Podbeans and everything. This is like let me explain this as a storage space where you upload everything. And from this platform, when you upload your audios, they push it out to platforms like Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, or Breaker. They're all different platforms that you can have a listen to all these audio books and podcasts. This is how it works. So it was a bit of a journey to understand which platform works best for me. Earlier, I was with SoundCloud because that was a very initial testing phase. Then I moved to Wooshka for a good period of time, and exactly when I had about 900 and plus downloads, that's when I shifted to Anchor. So
Wow,
it's like,
I did not even know there was so many of process applications that go through for delivering just one podcast of 5-10 minutes.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot that happened. It's a lot about, one aspect is production, another aspect is having a concept behind every. So you have a mother concept, why I'm doing this podcast, what is the purpose, which is my USP, or what is that I'm trying to uh, aim goal of the podcast. Then with every episode I think of who is my guest. what is the topic that I want to cover that can help my audience. It has always been about my audience, which is graduates, students, and aspiring leaders across the globe. What is very relevant for them and what will help them take their first step towards their goal. So I have addressed a lot of topics, like I've had about 35 episodes now. So from public speaking to digital marketing to mental health, also about recruitment process, and if someone wants to start their own business or just make a start, writing, content creation, personal branding. There is a lot of content with every episode, so there's a lot of thought process that goes, because at the end of the day, I really want my audience to get something out of it. Yeah.
Amazing. So, Shani, how did you used to juggle your time, especially when this started? You would be at university, and when after you graduated, you must be also finding part-time or full-time job. So, how did you manage to always have a space to work on your podcast?
I think I like this work. So exactly, I think I just see that Uni Melbourne calendar that that has been very helpful. Let me tell you. So we both are, as Anjali just mentioned, we both are Uni Melbourne graduates, and she's still studying, and we get that timetable sheet.
The
So I
planner was
plan,
the
yeah,
savior for us.
yeah, we need to plan our weeks and months. I plan my week, and that's how I work. So you have to be very efficient and effective. So if you have taken one, so this is how I started off with, putting, giving time to my podcast editing, podcast concept creation, and then networking and communicating with the guest speakers. And so it always had something to do with my calendar. I put down things that what is important, where this thing has to go. So you maintain a calendar, and as I said, that if I have something in my diary that I have to do today, then I will have to do that. I just cannot not. And it goes the same way, even vice versa. If I don't plan it, I will literally do nothing that day, and I'm just wasting my time. So it happens like that.
So,
So
did you
yeah,
used to
planning.
plan one night before, or was that 1 week before?
Nah, I always do a week's planning. So it's like, if I think every Sunday or Saturday night, or probably Sunday, I write down all my week, the work that I have. So I think when I was in university, so if there's any students who are listening out to this, they want to do something I think more than multitasking, it is like how you segregate your time and devote your time in a week. So if you have Monday, Tuesday, you know which days you have your uni, where when you have to do the assignment, you have all those days and time sorted out. So you find the best time. If you work really well in the morning, find a time over there. If you work very well in the evening, find a time over there, wherever you are creative or what you want to do. It is not that, there is a map for how and when you should work or how others working. It is entirely dependent on where you work the best. But I
Right.
think the bottom line is that have your timetable made over there, and definitely have a time for yourself to breathe, relax, and yeah, every day, like at least take 1 hour off. Yeah, so I think that was one mistake that I did at the very beginning. I used to stack up my work one after the other, and I wanted to get everything done as soon as possible. But then I think the good idea is to spread it out throughout the week. Yeah.
So yeah, though you touched on the concept of on those setbacks or your mistakes, so why don't you just take us to the journey while you were, since you were then budding this podcast, and what setbacks or those major failures that came into your way that made you either fickle the concept of podcast, or was there any moment where you were just questioning yourself, like, is that making some value, or will I be going it straight, not realizing that one day you'll be tending to have so many episodes, you'll be in everyone's heart, at least for the University of Melbourne students. Because letting people know how Ishani is amongst one of our cohorts who have started her own podcast and has been running successfully. Like, I couldn't find anyone around my surrounding that had started, especially being an international woman.
Thank you, Anjali. That was really sweet. Let me just start by saying that first. um, Yeah, challenges always, because I did not start with the mindset that, oh, I'm going to create a podcast and I'm going to create business out of this. This was never my thinking behind this particular thing. So as and when it started to grow, I had to I think the first thing was the technology, because things are changing and how you use the technology. I had to perfect or better my audio quality. That was one thing that I always heard from my family members or some friends or some of my audiences who really really like the podcast, and they're always in touch with me. So they used to give me very honest feedback, and that is something that was always a challenge, and I'm working on it and learning as well, how I can better myself. And that comes with also understanding the tools and the kind of products that I need to have uh, to better my uh, yeah, services over here. The second thing I would say is definitely how to get out there and market to my audience. uh, there is so much happening over there, and using paid advertising, from whatever I have understood so far, really doesn't help you at the very beginning. You first need to establish your brand, and that happens through word of mouth. So I think I really like going out and talking to people been who have been listening to the podcast, and they have really got some sort of help with this. They give me the feedback and I really like it. But I also want to expand more and get this to more people, not just in Australia but even across world, because all of us are students somewhere, at least, if not international student of Australia, but international student of some other country. And we are facing the same situations in maybe in different ways. So I want to get in touch with a lot of people, and something good is in process. Hopefully that will be good as well. So I'm excited to share that soon when it happens. So this has been, yeah, so technology and getting out in the front with the audience. And the third is the mental aspect. Sometimes you do get tired, because there's a lot of things happening, and you cannot always be so happy and so motivated. There definitely, if you have your purpose and why, this is what I say in the podcast, and I'm going to cut this short, sorry. If you have a purpose and why, then even in the most on the most difficult and the most uh, you know lowest of your times, you will push back, you'll bounce back, and you will get on your feet and you'll do the things. So which has happened with me. And so that is something that comes in the way. So yeah, and when I felt that maybe I don't know where I want to take this podcast, I did not want to just do it just for the sake of it. So I
Hmm.
actually ended my first season, and this is my second season, because I don't want to do anything just for the sake of it. I want to have a purpose behind what I'm doing. So this season, it's all about, yes, taking the first step that you want to, but also building your inner capabilities and not being affected. Or if you do get affected by the outer environment, how can you bounce back? So yeah.
Definitely, Shani. So, yeah,
I'm
it's
so
another.
loving your family supporting you over here. This is so sweet. Really sweet to see this.
Yeah, so actually, that's such a coincidence. I was going to talk about your family, and then here comes my family. So, yeah, that was my grandfather, and I'm really liking how you are joining, guys. So, also, guys, feel free to ask and follow Ishani to her podcast and her LinkedIn. So we'll be also sharing her profile, but if just ask her questions about her journey, and I'll make sure she would address that. So Ishani, coming to your family, I was going through some stats that shows that in Australia, it's only 35% of Australian women who tend up to have something of her own, like her own establishments or joining her own business. And seeing the numbers so maniacal, and with coming from a southeast family, do you think there's certain amount of stereotypes or taboo when a girl starts off something own, rather than how we have that heirloom of even if you have a business family, it's your son who will be taking care of it more than your daughters joining it back. So did you face any of these stereotypical comments or something from not only from your family but might be from relatives, friends, indirectly or directly,
Yeah.
questioning your ability to have your something own?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for bringing that question up. Fortunately, I have never faced that in my immediate or extended family. Seen in one of my friends, but never in my. I have an elder sister, so we are two girls, and never ever have our parents made us feel that way. I think we always had opportunity and the support that we needed. I would like to thank my parents, just so to say, Rajesh Nigam and Madhulika Nigam for that. Of course, I mean, you always have that when while you're growing up, you have that, kind of tiff with your parents, this is what I want to do, but you're never on the same page. But I think what really helps a child while he's growing, coming from my experience, is that when you lead by example, it really helps the child to understand that what to do. If you say something, if you tell them, no, this is what you should be doing, this is what you should not be doing, that really doesn't settle in unless they can see you doing something. So I have always seen them, both my parents, they are employed. My father works for Indian Oil, that is a public sector organization in India, and my mother, she is a teacher, and she's also I think she's a coordinator at a school in India. So they have always been working, and they have always been very hardworking. So I've seen them, having whatever I can do right now. I see coming from my parents as well. So as I say, leading by example, that is a very very big thing. It comes from that sense. So just to address your question, I personally have never felt that. In fact, we've just felt that we've always been encouraged to do what we wanted to, and maybe we are blessed that we got whatever we wanted to, in terms of maybe finances, um, emotional support, love, and but I also have friends who have certain kind of, background that you just mentioned regarding boys and girls, and on a bigger picture, yes, that exists at places. Thankfully, I have not been able to face. I haven't faced that.
Amazing. Oh yeah, respect again to your parents as well. I feel especially we imitate what our parents do, and somehow whether it's consciously or unconsciously, we also tend to pick up their traits. And I feel that's what you have picked up, and not really, being constantly pushing yourself till the time you haven't achieved what you destined for.
Mhm.
It's also coming from your parents as well. So Ishani, what about, so definitely they were the rock banks, they were the pillars for you. So what about the environment that you received in Australia? Especially I remember how half of, so I would consider like maybe one semester of you went by COVID, so that was all transitioned to online platform. So how is the environment over Australia that nurtured you to take that step?
Um, I think it was actually being just with myself, because when we went online, we also went into stage 4 lockdown. If I remember, I think after the first semester, and we were just locked in our own rooms. I was with myself, and I was with people that I really liked online through that program. So probably when you are busy doing your assignments and attending classes, and you're in university, you don't really get to think about a lot of things. But when I really got that time being in my own space, I think that really helped me connect with myself, because I was like, what else is happening? Let me just do what makes me feel good, because there were so many things that is really bringing your mental health, emotional health down, that at least you want to find a reason to utilize your time. So I think that was the thing that helped me, move forward, and being surrounded with like-minded people through that community.
Right. Definitely. So I feel choosing the right community for you really shapes you that way.
Mhm.
And having said that, campus consultancy really pushed you, and that's how the stemming or the budding Ishani came from. Um, s- so, where do we see the future of your podcast? Do you have so apart from the sequential seasons that will be launching, and touch wood, I'm so sure that would be, but where do you see yourself going through with this podcast? Have you ever had this 5 year 10 year goal that you have charted down or something of that kind?
Yes, it's always in mind, and let's see where it goes. I have few things in my mind, but really need to sit down and plan things out. It also depends on a lot of other factors as well. So let's see. But for now, I am really, really happy doing interviewing industry professionals, and not just industry professionals, even people from different uh, background who have actually, gone beyond their own capabilities when they did not even uh, they did not know that they could do it, but they have done it. So I think it is worth bringing their story forward to tell the young generation and other people that listen to yourself, listen to what you like, what you believe in, and you do not really need to worry about where this particular talent of mine or where this particular liking of mine take me. If you like something, do it and keep doing it and get better at it. You never know how you combine that talent with some other opportunity in your life. So with my first step ever for now, I'm still continuing what I'm doing, but if something comes up, then definitely I'll be telling all of
Definitely.
you.
And on that note, I just received a message from a friend who wanted to ask from you, since you have mentioned so many times about going through the speakers coming from the pioneer industries. So how does this networking happen, especially having no contacts but wanting to build your podcast into very knowledgeable and informational insights? So how would you choose a topic, or how would you meet those speakers that would come to your podcast?
I think we all think that the other person, oh my God, that other person will never reply. Uh, that person is the director of this particular company. Why would he answer me? But that's not the case most of the time. And I also used to think that way. Let me tell you that I was in the same boat. But I just started, connecting with people on LinkedIn. And I like chatting with them. I wanted to know how the journey has been. And if you want to know someone else's journey, because they have put efforts in their journey, if you want to patiently give them a listening ear, why will someone not want to share their journey with you? But when you are connecting with someone, have a purpose, a goal in mind, that why you want to meet that person. And just to answer your question, it was basically through LinkedIn networking, and then people started kind of referring to other people that you might be really in for a good surprise if you meet this person, a good person to be on your podcast. Sometimes people write to me that they would love to be on this podcast. So I see that what do they bring with the background and how it can help, and then I tailor the episodes that way. So we are addressing various topics, and everyone is able to get something out of it.
Amazing, Ishani. So, would you also go through those networking events that we had, or those networking online nights, just to meet people and find their show a story enough interesting to share it to public?
Are you talking about any particular networking event or in general?
In general, in general.
I okay. I don't always go with the aim to I'm not like head hunting for my podcast. That's not my aim with networking events. There's a lot of different kind of networking events that I go to, and I sometimes I'm invited to. So I really like doing that. At times when I find that, oh my God, this person's story really aligns with what I'm looking for, and this will really give a push to the graduates, the students, because we are coming from a certain kind of a mindset and we are having some sort of issues. So if that could be addressed by the guest speaker, that relevancy has to be there. That's how the story needs to click with the audience. They really need to get something out of that particular guest speaker's story and episode. So that's how it happens. And yeah, so that's what it has always been in my mind. Yeah.
So, if in future you would have to choose between your podcast versus if you are any full-time consultant or marketing communication or even a content writer in a good company, do you think you could choose between the two, or would you want to just have both in your boat and just struggle your time against them?
So I have been doing podcasts and I've been loving that. I haven't yet got to that point where I get this decision to make that. I mean, to take this decision. So it would be unfair to say right now that what will happen. As they say, never say never. So let's see when the time comes. But for now, I'm really happy to continue the podcast. And even if I do have an opportunity, I would then decide that what has to be done. But this is something I think it should be okay, as long as I am able to do it. It's the time that I need to commit. That's all. Yeah.
Lovely. So, Shani, coming to the last question of this program, and also reminding viewers, if you have any question, you can just let us know. Um, what would you give the three top recommendation or suggestion for any budding entrepreneur or anyone who want to have something of their own but is still afraid to come out of their comfort shells? Like, what would the three advice would be if you could come up as random as now?
Yeah, I think the first one would be, I would say, just relax. You really do not need to do anything in the world just for the sake of doing something. So relax. Okay, the first recommendation is, if you want to do something, if you want to start something, just relax, take a seat back, and then understand what is that you're offering. Because at the end of the day, if you want to start your own business, you're an entrepreneur, there is a problem that you're solving in the world for some specific audience that you have. So understand what the problem is. And once you have the problem in your mind, do not rush into, getting on social media, going with the paid advertisements and doing them. It is,
I think it's
because,
also a fad that has come up with the
yeah,
entrepreneurship. I feel, and
yeah.
especially not sorry to interrupt you, but you know
No, no, no,
how
please
everyone in
continue.
the social media, especially with the TikTok and the inception of certain videos, everyone wants to have that limelight.
Hmm,
Everyone wants to be that influencer, but in the same humdrum, we tend to lose what. How are we different?
exactly.
Everyone looks the same way.
Yeah. So that's exactly what you're saying. It's the first step that is that your foundation. What is your foundation? What is the problem that you're solving? What is your purpose, your why? Because it's very important. As I said, if law the entrepreneurial journey is a very long journey, and it's a very challenging road, and it's not easy for me as well. So first, have your foundation strong. What is that you want to help people with, and why? Second is that you need to test it out. So start with your family members, or with, for example, if you want to be a personal development coach, for example, then you can start out with your friends. If they find that it has, first of all, do it on yourself. If you have
Yeah.
seen that change, then start with your friends. And I think if they feel good, they'll start referring you to other people. Once you have built that momentum for yourself and things are working, and in this safe space, you have that, the mistakes that you have done, the learnings that you had, you start correcting and building yourself, and then start going out. So yeah, having relax. First of all, take a deep breath and relax. Second, have a purpose and why what you're solving. And third, test it out in your newer and dear one's space, and then start moving ahead.
Amazing, Ishani. I feel that's the most candid but so powerful advice, because I have seen people, especially going through what they have been into the success. They talk about the recommendation gets so empowering, but in the same time, it is not relatable. Like, I know what you are saying about, but that looks to the next level of my journey. But what do I need to do now? So I feel that's what you are tapping into, and that's amazing. So yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
organic coming
Thank you
till
too
the
much.
end.
Yeah. Sweet of her.
Thank you so much. But thank you so much for sharing your amazing journey, Shani. We really, really wish you the best of luck and future endeavors. And I'm so sure you would want to come back to us because we are not leaving you. And also thanks to Saleha, who is working back end, seeing if everything goes seamlessly, and it went amazing. So thanks for our viewers. Thanks for especially connotation to my Nani, who's always there at every podcast. Thanks to Shani once again.
Sorry, Anjali, just want to add something. I really want to thank Saleha and Anjali as well. You have been amazing throughout the entire interview and even before that, getting everything done. So thank you so much, Anjali. And I just want to end by saying that, one thing that can really help you go forward in your life is what I first heard Michelle Obama say once, that walk your own walk, because once you concentrate only on your journey, how far you have come and where you want to go, you will not be distracted. Your pace is different from someone else's. So I think that is one of the greatest learning that I had. And I just want to share that with everyone. Thanks, Anjali. Thank you so much.